Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
In an empty space in the desolate city, 5,214 golden corpses were placed on the ground surrounded by soldiers from Blazing Sun City. Zhou Zhou was standing in front of these corpses. He looked at them and waved his right hand. 3 fiery red blast furnaces that were 5 to 6 meters tall appeared beside him out of thin air. They were 3 green bronze-tier elementary-grade Conqueror's furnaces. Zhou Zhou walked to the first Conqueror blast furnace and opened its energy slot. He placed a green bronze-tier mist core inside. Then, he closed the energy slot and placed his right hand on the activation button at the side. Wisps of energy flowed into the button through his right hand. Buzz. The Conqueror's blast furnace shook slightly. Zhou Zhou immediately felt a scorching energy surge out. He did the same and activated the remaining 2 Conqueror's blast furnaces immediately after. When Bai Yi saw the scene, she immediately got the soldiers to carry the corpses and climb up the ladder to the top of the Conqueror's blast furnace. Then, they threw the corpses inside. Zhou Zhou looked at the first corpse that was thrown in. This corpse was the corpse of a black iron tier intermediate grade slave guard. The loots he could drop were 4 black iron tier mist cores and a black iron tier elementary grade machete. After it was thrown into the blast furnace. Boom, boom, boom. The Conqueror's blast furnace emitted a sound like a steam engine, and wisps of heat appeared above the blast furnace. Soon, on the assembly line below, 4 black iron tier mist cores and a black iron tier elementary grade machete appeared. Zhou Zhou might already be prepared, but he was still a little excited that his 100% drop rate could really be replicated through the Conqueror's blast furnace. He immediately realized the importance of this matter. At the very best, he would no longer have to be a tool to retrieve the loots in the future. He would have more time to slack off. But at the worst, if others obtained the Conqueror's blast furnace that had been activated with his own energy, then the other party would obtain a 100% drop rate within an hour. If word got out, how many life forms in the High Continent would go crazy? The Conqueror's blast furnace activated by my energy must only be used by me. My Lord talent can't be reduced to a tool for others to grow, Zhou Zhou thought to himself. In the time that followed, a large number of corpses were thrown into the Conqueror's blast furnace, then turned into more loot and sent out of the assembly line. An hour later, the energy in the 3 Conqueror's blast furnaces were completely exhausted. In contrast, a total of 3,125 corpses were converted into a mountain of loot under the 100% drop rate. After that, Zhou Zhou placed a new green bronze tier mist core on the Conqueror's blast furnaces and activated them again with his own energy. Soon, they began to operate again. Half an hour later, all the corpses turned into loot. After tidying up, there were 15,618 black iron tier mist cores, 4,074 green bronze tier mist cores, and 1,091 green bronze tier aurora crystals. 4,123 pieces of black iron tier equipment, black iron tier elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade. 2,370 green bronze tier equipment, green bronze tier elementary, intermediate, and advanced grade. Zhou Zhou looked at the loots and fell into deep thought. If this was in the past, it would take him at least a day to extract so many loots. It was completed in less than 2 hours now that he had the Conqueror's blast furnace. This money is well spent. Zhou Zhou was very satisfied. The harvest of the aurora crystals also surprised him. Under his 100% drop rate, every green bronze tier aurora human could drop one of these strategic resources. As a result, he now had 1,091 of them. Even the Aurora Kingdom's king would be dumbfounded when he saw this. Only I can do this, Zhou Zhou sighed. After that, he put away all the loot and left 1,000 recruits for the 2 brothers to guard the desolate city. He left another 5,000 black iron tier mist cores and 1,000 green bronze tier mist cores for the daily expenses of more than 1,000 of them. In the end, Zhou Zhou and Bai Yi brought the remaining soldiers and life professions back to Blazing Sun City. Time passed quickly. The sky gradually darkened. Scarlet fog had already begun to appear in the air. Just as Zhou Zhou and the others were about to reach Blazing Sun City, Bai Yi suddenly saw something and pointed at Blazing Sun City in the distance excitedly. "My lord, look." Zhou Zhou looked over and immediately widened his eyes. For grayish-white walls that were 25 meters tall and 1,000 meters long stood in a square around Blazing Sun City not far away. They surrounded the territory within 1,000 meters of Blazing Sun City tightly and were unbreakable. The green bronze-tier advanced-grade Aurora Tower stood on the upper left side of the city wall. The slowly rotating hexagonal crystal at the top of the tower emitted a faint white light. It was as if it was telling any enemy who dared to approach that they would be punished by the Aurora. When they got closer, a text notification immediately appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Building name: Wallsand Crystal Wall. Construction level: green bronze tier advanced grade. Wall defense range: 1000 m times 1000 m times 25 m. Total cubic meters of the wall: 100,000 cubic meters, 12,276 cubic meters of sand crystal-shaped city wall, 87,724 cubic meters of ordinary wall. Defense facilities: Aurora Tower, green bronze tier advanced grade, X1, guard tower, gradeless, X4, city corner arrow tower, gradeless, X12, pure iron city gate X1. Building effect: territory's basic defense facilities, used to resist the invasion of enemies from the outside world. After adding sand crystal, the black iron tier material, it mutated into a sand crystal city wall. Wall defense plus 50%, earthquake resistance plus 50%, winter warm summer cool building effect plus 1. Construction upgrade: all ordinary walls need to be replaced with sand crystal walls before you can continue upgrading. Building description: the newly built wall of Blazing Sun City. Even though it is very strong, it has yet to experience the impact of enemies from the outside world. The more Zhou Zhou looked at it, the more pleasantly surprised he became. This was exactly the same as the wall of his dream. The Lord is back. At this moment, a familiar voice came from not far away. Zhou Zhou looked over. He realized that it was Zhao Changshu and the others. Soon, Zhao Changshu walked over. "Greetings, my lord," he said respectfully. "Elder Zhao, there's no need to be so polite. You've done a great service today. I'm finally relieved with this sand crystal wall," Zhou Zhou said sincerely. "It's not just me. This old man is just moving my mouth at most. The real hardship is the soldiers and subjects who help build the wall." Zhao Changshu shook his head. "Don't worry, Elder Zhao. I've already asked the military officials to record everyone's contributions over the past few days. All of your hard work will not be in vain." Zhou Zhou nodded. A smile finally appeared on Zhao Changshu's face. Actually, the city wall is only the initial construction. There's still room for strengthening in the future. First, there's the problem of the sand crystal wall. Only a little more than 10% of the walls in the city wall are sand crystal walls. The rest are ordinary walls. We can reforge the other ordinary city walls into sand crystal walls when the sand crystals are replenished in the future. Next is the thickness of the city wall. It's only a meter thick now. We can still thicken it tomorrow. Finally, the city wall defense facilities. One Aurora Tower is still a little too little. However, I'm building the second Aurora Tower. It should be completed tomorrow. My lord, I have something to report to you. This sand crystal wall has already consumed all the sand crystals and 400,000 units of basic materials. There are not many basic materials left. If I want to continue strengthening the city wall, I have to replenish a large amount of sand crystals and basic materials," Zhao Changshu said. Zhou Zhou was not surprised. He had already considered the consumption of building the wall. This result was similar to what he had calculated. "Leave this to me," Coincidentally, we brought back a batch of basic materials and aurora crystals this time. Elder Zhou, just use them when you need them. As for the sand crystals, they can only be obtained at the monster ranches tomorrow, Zhou Zhou said. Zhao Changshu nodded. Zhou Zhou did not say anything else after that. He took out the basic materials and aurora crystals and handed them to Elder Zhao. Then, he opened the exchange and set up a transaction for more than 29,000 black iron tier and green bronze tier equipment that he had obtained from the desolate city. These equipment were all worn by slaves, and the effect of the equipment was not as good as the standard equipment of soldiers of the same level. Now that Zhou Zhou's standards were a little high, he naturally looked down on these equipment. It was better to sell them directly and exchange them for a large number of basic materials. Soon, a large number of lords discovered the deal that Zhou Zhou had just announced. There were more than 29,000 pieces of equipment, making every lord dumbfounded. A moment later, this transaction ranked first in the number of transaction views at a rocket-like speed. The Lords of the World channel also exploded at the same time because of this deal. F***CK. What did I see? More than 29,000 pieces of equipment. I opened the Lord of the Blazing Sun's dictionary. On every page is the word ridiculous, and there are no other words in this dictionary. Lord of the Blazing Sun. The forever god. Ever since I found out about the Lord of the Blazing Sun, I guess I can only use scissors to punch, because the Blazing Sun is my punching bag one. Sundara face. Heaven-defying. Why does such a sick lord appear every time a topic related to the Lord of the Blazing Sun appears on the World Channel? What's wrong with the World Channel? It's heaven-defying. I'm the only normal person. Sundara face. Woohoo! I've been worrying about how to arm my subjects before the Novice Lord test. Big Boss Blazing Sun's equipment came at the right time. I want to arm my subjects +1. Sigh, I've been blocked by Big Boss Blazing Sunday. I can only look at these equipment. I can't buy them even if I want to. Big Boss Blazing Sun's blacklist is so terrifying. More than 29,000 pieces of equipment don't look like they were forged by him. They should be looted. This makes me wonder how strong Big Boss Blazing Sun is. This amount of equipment that can only be obtained from loots of a battle of at least 1,000. I boldly speculate that the Lord of the Blazing Sun already has more than 1,000 soldiers. 1,000 soldiers? Really? The humble me revealed a poor smile looking at the 30 subjects in my territory. At the same time, the Dragon Lady Lord, the Undead Lord, the Overlord Lord, and the other top-notch lords who were either hiding or had already revealed themselves had also seen Zhou Zhou's equipment transaction. They were all in disbelief. However, they had to admit one thing looking at the genuine 29,000-odd pieces of equipment. The Lord of the Blazing Sun had become stronger again. This made them feel a little anxious. However, as top-notch lords, they quickly adjusted their mentalities. That is because they knew that urgency was useless. The better choice was to develop themselves with all their might. They all believed in one thing in their hearts. As long as the position of the Lord of all races was not confirmed, everything was still unknown. On the other hand, Zhou Zhou set the price for these 29,000 pieces of equipment. The price range of each black iron tier equipment was between 40 units of basic materials and 200 units of basic materials. The price range of each green bronze tier equipment was between 400 units of basic materials and 2,000 units of basic materials. It was 50% higher than the market price. However, there were billions of lords in the exchange. Zhou Zhou was not worried that no one would buy his equipment. That was indeed the case. Half an hour later, all of the equipment was sold. This was even when Zhou Zhou limited the number of equipment any single lord could buy. He looked at the transaction results. Results: about 3.5 million units of wood, about 2.9 million units of fine sand, about 3.1 million units of metal, and about 2.6 million units of stone. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. There were more than 12.1 million units of basic materials. If other lords saw this transaction outcome, wouldn't they be dumbfounded? He could build ordinary walls to his heart's content with so many basic materials, even though he could not build a sand crystal city wall. He walked out of the Lord's courtyard without hesitation and found Elder Zhou, who was commanding the construction of the Aurora Tower in the territory. Then, he opened the exchange and took out all 12.1 million odd units of basic materials and placed them together according to categories. Fortunately, the things in the exchange could be controlled with his mind. Otherwise, Zhou Zhou would not be able to take out so many basic materials even if he worked himself to death. For small mountains soon appeared in front of Zhao Changshou. His eyes widened. Elder Zhao, I'll leave these materials to you. Thicken the wall where it's not thick enough. Use the materials if you have to. There's no need to save, Zhou Zhou said generously. In that case, I'll do my best. Zhao Changshou chuckled after coming back to his senses. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Zhao Changshou went back to work. He had already decided not to sleep tonight. It was enough for him to be busy for the entire night, be it building the monster ranches or the Aurora Tower. Fortunately, he was a white platinum tier intermediate grade architect. His physical fitness far exceeded that of ordinary people. He would have died long ago if he was an ordinary old man. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou also planned to leave. However, he suddenly remembered something. I have yet to use today's quota for the return to the city talent. Zhou Zhou fell into deep thought. He might as well use it now. In any case, he probably wouldn't go out again tonight and wouldn't encounter any danger. He could test the specific effect of this Black Iron Tier Lord talent. Return to the city. After making up his mind, Zhou Zhou stood where he was and suddenly said. The next second, two virtual 3D terrain maps suddenly appeared in his mind. One of them was bigger than the other. The larger one was a 3D virtual terrain map of the Blazing Sun Desert. The smaller one was the virtual 3D terrain map of the desolate city that he had just taken in as a subsidiary territory today. Zhou Zhou quickly realized that he could enlarge or shrink them with his mind. Moreover, he could directly go to the place he wanted to go when he chooses any one of the two virtual 3D terrain maps with the thought of going to this place. However, this choice had to be completed in 5 seconds. If it was more than 5 seconds and he did not choose the place he wanted to go, it would be considered a failure and he would have to use it again. So this is how return to the city is used. Doesn't that mean, if I have my own territory in every place in the High Continent in the future, then I can completely rely on this Black Iron Tier Lord talent to appear anywhere in the High Continent. Even if I can't do it, I can also use this Lord talent to appear in any territory under my command. While it can only be used once a day currently, I might be able to increase the number of times I can use it if I use the Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal to upgrade this Lord talent. Zhou Zhou immediately thought with excitement. He did not expect this simple return to the city talent to have potential to be unearthed. Then, he stopped thinking so much about it and chose the Lord's courtyard. He chose to zoom in. Soon, the living room scene in the Lord's courtyard appeared in front of him. Zhou Zhou had the thought of going to the living room. The next second, his entire body suddenly became illusory. Then, his vision suddenly darkened. Another second passed. When the scene appeared in front of Zhou Zhou again, he realized that he was already standing in the living room. Not only that, he even felt that his physical condition was recovering rapidly. Originally, he had brought his soldiers to attack the territory of the Sandman Lord, then to Fish Spring Town, and finally to capture Desolate City. After this series of events, he still felt some physical and mental fatigue even though he was already at the Green Bronze Tier elementary grade. But now, Zhou Zhou felt that his mental state and physical state were beginning to recover at an astonishing speed. 10 seconds later, he felt full of energy again. Is this the effect of triggering a 50% recovery of physical state in 10 seconds after returning to the city? Zhou Zhou reacted. At this moment, he suddenly thought of something and fell silent. He originally wanted to rest and sleep after a while. He felt that he might not be able to sleep tonight now that he had returned to the city. My lord, Zhang Yuanqi requests an audience. Just as Zhou Zhou was worried about how he would sleep tonight, Zhang Yuanqi's voice came from outside the door. Zhou Zhou was stunned. Then, he stood up and walked out of the Lord's courtyard to bring Elder Zheng into the living room. "Have a seat, Elder Zheng." "Why are you here so late?" he asked doubtfully. "My lord, I came here late at night to report some problems I discovered in the territory and want to discuss concrete solutions." After Zhang Yuanqi sat down, he went straight to the point. "So that's what it is. Elder Zheng, just say what you want." Zhou Zhou nodded. "Then let me explain briefly. The first is the military merit exchange system. Currently, even though the military contribution exchange system in the Blazing Sun Army has been established, its system is still relatively rough. There are many details that need to be perfected. This is a small problem. I can solve it. The second is the problem of the contribution exchange system for the life professionals and the unemployed. The soldiers already have their own military merit exchange system. Then it's best if the subjects of the life professions and the unemployed have a corresponding contribution points exchange system. Let the life professions and unemployed subjects earn contribution points by contributing to the territory and exchange for the items they need. This will be good for the people and the territory. This is not my personal opinion. Most forces above the empire level, other than a few, implemented both exchange systems at the same time. My lord, if you agree, I can design a system of exchange for contribution points since I'm more familiar with this." "Of course I agree. Then I'll have to trouble Elder Zheng." Zhou Zhou acknowledged. "My lord, you're too kind. This is my duty." The fourth problem is, even though many people in Blazing Sun City have already begun to be in charge of the specific work in Blazing Sun City, they don't have clear official titles and a system of official positions yet. The official position system of the territory is an indispensable part of the territory's development. This aspect has to be perfected. I'm also very familiar with this. I can help design an official position system in Blazing Sun City. The fifth problem is the ratio of men to women in Blazing Sun City. Currently, there are nearly 7,000 subjects in the territory. The ratio between men and women has already reached an astonishing 7-to-1. This is already quite unhealthy. In your words, my lord, the yang energy is too strong. In the future, my lord can absorb more female subjects to the territory when the territory expands to accommodate new subjects. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. This was simple. The easiest thing to obtain in a lord war was population. He would just have to pay attention when the time came. Zhang Yuanqi continued after seeing Zhou Zhou nod. The sixth is the lack of buildings in the territory. But this is a small problem. I know Zhao Changshu. He's quite reliable. With him and the help of the other subjects, the buildings in our territory can be built sooner or later. It's just going to be a little tougher now. The seventh problem is food type. Half an hour later, Zhou Zhou fell into deep thought as he looked at Zhang Yuanqi, who was still talking nonstop. You call this explaining briefly? Another half an hour passed. This subordinate will stop here for now about the enactment of the territorial laws. Zhang Yuanqi stroked his beard, still looking a little unsatisfied, after mentioning the 23rd area that he thought needed to be perfected. Zhou Zhou nodded with a numb expression. Elder Zheng might have spoken for an extended period of time, but it had to be said that the problems he was talking about were indeed real problems in his territory. He could not help but feel a headache. There are so many problems. When will they be resolved? My lord, don't worry. Our Blazing Sun City has only been established for a short period of time, and our development speed is too fast. These problems will definitely appear under such circumstances. That's not a bad thing. On the contrary, if the problem is exposed, it means that we still have time and opportunity to correct it. Blazing Sun City will be reborn after these problems are corrected. If we don't correct it, you'll really have a headache when it's too late to correct it. Zhang Yuanqi seemed to have seen through Zhou Zhou's dilemma and comforted him. Zhou Zhou nodded. My lord, I have a request. Zhang Yuanqi suddenly said. What is it? Zhou Zhou was stunned. It's a little difficult for me to resolve the problems in these territories alone, and it will take a long time. Therefore, I want to choose some people from the territory to be my assistants and help me solve them. I wonder if my lord can agree to that? Zhang Yuanqi said respectfully. Elder Zheng, don't worry. Just tell me if you see anyone that can help you in our territory. Even I can help you as long as it can make Blazing Sun City better. Zhou Zhou agreed without hesitation. If it was any other lord facing Zhang Yuanqi's request, the lord might become suspicious because he seems to be forming his own ally team. However, to Zhou Zhou, Zhang Yuanqi was a talent attracted by his reputation rating. His loyalty was very high to begin with. Coupled with the peace and prosperity diamond tier lord talent, he did not have to worry about his loyalty. Therefore, Zhou Zhou was completely willing to let go and let him do this with all his might. Thank you, my lord. Zhang Yuanqi looked at Zhou Zhou with a different gaze, hearing Zhou Zhou agree without hesitation. At the same time, a notification that the other party's loyalty had increased appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Towards this, Zhou Zhou only smiled and did not say anything. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Zhang Yuanqi left. Zhou Zhou looked at the other party's back as he left. He thought about the suggestion the other party had just mentioned and felt a headache coming on. He suddenly understood something. It is important to know one's limits. I'll just leave it to you. It is more reliable to leave these things to professionals. He stopped thinking about it and returned to the master bedroom to rest. The next morning, in the master bedroom, Zhou Zhou lay on the bed and looked at the ceiling above with wide eyes. He didn't sleep all night. There was no other reason. He was too energetic and he could not sleep at all. I'm indeed not at the age to sleep, he comforted himself. At this moment, a ray of morning light shone in through the window. It's the 7th day. The novice lord test is tomorrow. Zhou Zhou thought to himself when he saw this. Then, he opened the Cerulean Planet Lord World channel. Then, he saw the blood-red countdown at first glance. Countdown, 23 hours, 15 minutes, 11 seconds. Time was ticking away. A vast number of lords were discussing the novice lord test tomorrow below the countdown. Tomorrow is the novice lord test. I'm so excited that my entire body is trembling. Are you sure it's because you're trembling from excitement and not because you're afraid? The novice lord test is finally coming. I realize that I'm suddenly not afraid anymore. Come quickly. Give me a quick answer no matter whether I live or die. Brothers, is it too late to give up my status as a lord and change my profession to an adventurer? I have an adventurer subject who said that being an adventurer is actually very dangerous. It's not as safe as you think. I advise everyone who wants to change their profession to an adventurer to consider it carefully and not make a mistake. I'm dying of laughter. You still want to retreat at a time like this? I just summoned today's subjects. I already have 15 professions, one of which is a black iron tier advanced grade spearman. Big shot, can you tell me if I can pass tomorrow's novice lord test with my current strength? Don't ask. Asking is taboo. My territory is in the Lone Wolf territory of the Gale Kingdom. Is there a big shot nearby who can help me during the novice lord test? My territory is in the snowy plains of the Flying Snow Kingdom. To any big shot that is willing to help me in the novice lord test tomorrow, I guarantee that I will follow your lead in the future. I'm the same. Can any big shot come and help me after passing the novice lord test? My territory is the Black Moon Mountain range of the Twilight Kingdom. I'm in the Glazed Kingdom. I'm in the Bright Moon Kingdom. No one knew who started it. Suddenly, a large number of lords were crazily exposing the location of their territory on the World Channel. What they wanted to express was surprisingly unanimous. That was to gather together for strength. They all wanted to find the other human lords around the territory and unite all the forces that could be united. Then, they wanted to use this power to pass the novice lord test tomorrow. Gathering for strength? That's a method too. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. However, he was not interested in this method. The High Continent was huge. It was too difficult to encounter other Cerulean Planet lords. He had only encountered 2 until now. One of them was Lord Mighty, who was destroyed by him. The second one had already given up his status as a lord and changed his profession to an adventurer. Zhou Zhou no longer had much hope that there was still a cerulean planet lord around his territory. He stopped looking. Zhou Zhou closed the world channel and walked out of the lord's courtyard. He came to the gate of summoning and began his daily summoning. A text notification appeared. Prompt: do you want to summon immediately? Yes, Zhou Zhou said. He could summon 54 new subjects every day now that he was at the green bronze tier intermediate grade. And there must be 6 professionals among them. He was looking forward to it. The next second, the gate of summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light and 54 subjects walked out. Greetings, my lord, X54. After the 54 new subjects came out, they immediately bowed respectfully when they saw Zhou Zhou. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. Then, he opened their personal information and began to check them. A moment later, the inspection was completed. Among these 54 people, there were 34 male subjects and 20 female subjects. There were a total of 8 professionals. Among them were 1 green bronze tier intermediate grade archer and 1 green bronze tier intermediate grade carpenter. There was also 1 green bronze tier elementary grade doctor, 2 green bronze tier elementary grade sword shield soldiers, 2 black iron tier advanced grade tailors, and 1 black iron tier elementary grade blacksmith. This is still acceptable, Zhou Zhou thought. Then, he asked these 54 people to look for Zheng Yuanqi and ask him to assign them to their respective places. My lord, I've already completed the upgrade of the monster ranches with Mugu. At this moment, Zhao Changshu quickly walked over from afar and arrived in front of Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou was about to say that he wanted to go to the monster ranches to take a look. Then, he saw the obvious joy on Zhao Changshu's face. He immediately thought of something and opened his attribute panel. Then, he saw that Zhao Changshu's architect level had shockingly advanced from the white platinum tier intermediate grade to white platinum tier advanced grade. Elder Zhao, you've advanced? Zhou Zhou looked at him in surprise. Zhao Changshu smiled and nodded. I was lucky to advance. The Monster Ranch is indeed a special building. With it, I've finally been promoted to a white platinum tier advanced grade architect. I didn't expect this. I've spent more than 10 years in the Aurora Kingdom without being able to achieve this. I didn't expect to advance successfully in just a few days. I made the right choice coming here. I have no regrets in this life now that I've reached the limit of my potential while I'm still alive. Zhao Changshu sighed with emotion. Then, he looked at Zhou Zhou. My lord, you can hand any white platinum tier advanced grade building blueprints to me in the future if you encounter them. I can learn blueprints of this level now, he said. Okay. Zhou Zhou immediately agreed. He could tell that Elder Zhao's happy expression was mixed with an imperceptible loneliness. It was a good thing that his strength had reached the limit of his potential. However, from another perspective, it also meant that this person had no other possibility of advancing. Wasn't this also a pity? Zhou Zhou did not say anything. After congratulating him, he came to the monster ranches with him. In front of the monster ranches. Greetings, my lord. Mugu, who had been waiting at the entrance of the monster ranches, immediately walked up to Zhou Zhou and said respectfully when he saw them arrive. Zhou Zhou nodded and opened the other party's attribute panel. Subject: Mugu. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Life profession: Monster Rancher. Profession class: Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. Battle class name: Monster Shepherd. Strength level: Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability overview: same as before. Skills: Special Building, Monster Ranch, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Fog Monster, Communication, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Fog Monster, Taming, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Fog Monster, Control, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Fog Monster, Berserk, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade, Fog Monster, Appease, Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade. Loyalty, Dead loyal. Potential. Diamond tier advanced grade. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. At the same time, he was a little envious. His advancement in strength and skills only required the territory level to increase. It was simply much easier than his advancement method. How much has your ability increased? Zhou Zhou stopped thinking about it and asked. I've something to report, my lord. After I advanced to the green bronze tier intermediate grade monster rancher and monster shepherd, I can already manage 5 green bronze tier intermediate grade monster ranches at the same time. Moreover, the upper limit of the number of nurturing per monster ranch has increased from 750 to 1,000. The upper limit of the strength of the fog monsters that can be nurtured has also increased from green bronze tier elementary grade to green bronze tier intermediate grade. And yesterday, Elder Zhao, the soldiers and I have upgraded the original 3 green bronze tier elementary grade monster ranches to green bronze tier intermediate grade monster ranches. Moreover, we built an additional green bronze tier intermediate grade monster ranch that has yet to be placed with monsters as a backup in the future. A total of 60,000 units of basic materials, 600 green bronze mist cores, and 1 origin crystal has been consumed. Mugu reported respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. This rate of consumption, other than origin crystals, was nothing to him now. Then, he looked at the 4 brand new monster ranches. They were 50% bigger than the original green bronze tier elementary grade monster ranch. At the same time, their architectural style was even more ancient than before. On the surface of its fence were even some cravings of unknown monsters. 3 of the monster ranches had already nurtured 1,000 desert fog lizards, 1,000 black-tailed fog scorpions, and 1,000 sandmen. The last monster ranch that had just been built was still empty because no new monsters had moved in for the time being. Zhou Zhou was satisfied. His daily fixed income had increased again. After that, Zhao Changsha wanted to continue building the Aurora Tower. Zhou Zhou hurriedly stopped him. Elder Zhao, you haven't slept for a day and night. You should rest, he said sincerely. At my age, I feel that it's already very rare. Moreover, I just broke through and am at my peak. I can't sleep at all even if you ask me to rest. Why don't you let me vent my energy? This way, I can rest better after I'm done. Zhao Changsha directly refused. Zhou Zhou tried to persuade him a few more times, but he could not persuade this old man at all. In the end, he could only watch helplessly as he walked in the direction of the Aurora Tower. Zhou Zhou was a little speechless. Are all the old people in the High Continent so fierce? After that, Zhou Zhou got someone to look for Bai Yi and asked her to bring all the soldiers to the monster ranches to deal with these 3,000 fog monsters. A moment later, in front of the monster ranches, Zhou Zhou and Bai Yi stood at the front. Nazario lay lazily nearby. In front of them were 4,970 soldiers, including the 1,000 soldiers left in the desolate city. I have 5,970 soldiers under my command now. Zhou Zhou looked at the soldiers in front of him, his heart filled with ambition. Then, they began to clear these monsters. It was the same old rules. Nazario first released its dragon might to intimidate these 3,000 monsters. Then, Bai Yi asked the soldiers to split into 3 teams and hunt the desert fog lizards, black-tailed fog scorpions, and sandmen in the 3 monster ranches. This time, she did not let the soldiers who felt that they could break through prioritize hunting monsters. That was because over the past few days, most of the soldiers who could break through by hunting the monsters in the monster ranch had already broken through. What the soldiers needed now was only the accumulation of advancement energy. Therefore, there was no need for such rules now. Increasing the efficiency of killing monsters was the most important. A moment later, under the siege of Nazario's dragon might and 4,970 soldiers, the 3,000 fog monsters quickly turned into corpses. The result was 456 soldiers broke through from Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade to Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade. 156 soldiers broke through from Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade to Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 22 soldiers broke through from black iron tier advanced grade to green bronze tier elementary grade. 6 soldiers were upgraded from green bronze tier elementary grade to green bronze tier intermediate grade. The soldiers dripped golden corpse water on these monsters during the remaining time. Zhou Zhou also activated the Conqueror's blast furnace and asked the soldiers to throw the corpses of these monsters into the Conqueror's blast furnace. During the collection of the loot, Zhou Zhou led the soldiers and doctors to the Time Ruins without stopping to complete today's Time Ruins quest. An hour later, all the loots had been extracted. From the monster ranches, a huge amount of monster flesh, water bags, potions, weapons, monster materials, various skill books, and potion formulas dropped. Zhou Zhou did not need these. They would become redeemable items in the military merit exchange system and the future subject contribution points exchange system. There were also 12,089 black iron tier mist cores, 524 green bronze tier mist cores, 1,125 sword shield soldier class change certificates for 81 sword shield soldier recruitment books, 945 poison crossbowman class change certificates, 567 poison crossbowman recruitment books, 2,284 kilograms of sand crystal. The gains from the Time Ruins would not change. Other than a fixed number of sets and scattered items, there were also 4,926 black iron tier mist cores, 20 green bronze tier mist cores, and 384 elemental archer recruitment books. Zhou Zhou then brought all the recruitment books to the Gate of Summoning and prepared to recruit new soldiers. Zhou Zhou first summoned 13 elemental archers from the Gate of Summoning. Then, he threw all 481 sword shield soldier recruitment books, 567 poison crossbow soldier recruitment books, and 384 elemental archer recruitment books into the Gate of Summoning. In the following period of time, soldiers walked out of the Gate of Summoning and stood behind Zhou Zhou. A moment later, 1,432 soldiers stood behind Zhou Zhou in unison. I have 7,415 soldiers under my command now. With these new soldiers, we're not far from breaking through to 10,000 soldiers. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. However, he frowned almost immediately again. There were almost more than 10,000 soldiers, but this also meant that he had reached the upper limit of the population of Blazing Sun City. Never mind. At most, we'll put a few thousand more soldiers in the desolate city. Zhou Zhou thought. At this moment, in his heart, the desolate city had already become his temporary garrison. Then, he handed the newly obtained sand crystals to Zhao Chengshou and opened the exchange, wanting to sell a portion of the newly obtained monster flesh. However, when he saw the current price of monster meat in the exchange, he frowned slightly. He realized that the price of the monster flesh in the exchange had actually been suppressed to the point that a piece of black iron tier elementary grade monster flesh was only worth 8 units of basic materials. It was far inferior to the grand occasion where he dared to sell the flesh of the lowest black iron tier elementary grade monster for 20 units of basic materials. He flipped through the exchange of the other lords selling monster meat in the exchange. He realized that the prices were about the same. Moreover, there were many more lords selling monster flesh than before. It seems that most lords already have the ability to obtain food by themselves. The good time when the flesh of the lowest level monster could be sold for a high price has passed. Zhou Zhou sighed. However, he did not think too much about it. He had long been prepared for today's situation when he first sold monster meat. Therefore, he was not surprised. Fortunately, he had already earned a lot of basic materials by selling a large amount of monster flesh in the early stages. Therefore, he did not feel that he had suffered a loss now. Instead, he felt that he was very business-minded back then and knew how to seize opportunities. Then I won't sell this monster's flesh for the time being. In any case, the number of subjects in my territory is no longer a small number. The flesh of these monsters can be used as food for the subjects first. Zhou Zhou thought. Then, he returned to the Lord's courtyard and had breakfast. After filling his stomach, Zhou Zhou sat on the chair in the living room and thought for a moment. Then, he opened his friend list and found Linger's chat to send her a message. "Lord of the Blazing Sun, are you there?" The other party replied almost imminently. "Spiritual Medicine Lord. I'm here, Big Brother." "Lord of the Blazing Sun, the Novice Lord test is tomorrow. How's the preparation on your side?" "Spiritual Medicine Lord, don't worry, brother. Linger's territory already has more than 500 subjects and more than 200 military professions." "Spiritual Medicine Lord, many lords on the World Channel are inferior to me. I will definitely be able to pass the Novice Lord test with my strength unless the Novice Lord test wants half of the cerulean planet lords to die." Zhou Zhou sighed when he saw this. Perhaps it was because of their different personalities. His little sister was more confident. She felt that she could definitely pass the Novice Lord test even if there were only more than 200 professionals. He already had more than 7,000 professionals, but he was still a little worried when he thought of the Novice Lord test tomorrow. "I hope tomorrow's Novice Lord test is not the kind of test where the stronger the Lord being tested, the more difficult the test will be. Otherwise, my development in the past 7 days will be shooting myself in the foot," Zhou Zhou thought. Then, he gave Linger a red packet with 200 Sword Shield Soldier Class Change Certificates, 100 Poison Crossbow Soldier Class Change Certificates, 50 bottles of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Health Potion, 10 bottles of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Energy Potion, 10 bottles of Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Antidote, 10 Sand Stealth Techniques, 10 Sandman Summoning Techniques, 10 Sandification Techniques, and 1 Mechanostrider in it. These things were completely insignificant to Zhou Zhou. He had such gains every day with the monster ranches around. But these things might be able to save Linger's life in the Novice Lord test. Therefore, Zhou Zhou gave them to her happily. When Linger opened the red packet, she was immediately stunned by the contents. She was about to type something when she saw a message from her big brother. "Lord of the Blazing Sun, God brother, don't underestimate tomorrow's Novice Lord test. I'm giving you these things for you to save your life. Lord of the Blazing Sun, God brother, remember to contact me when the Novice Lord test begins tomorrow. If you encounter any difficulties, I will definitely help you if I can. Lord of the Blazing Sun, God brother, if tomorrow's Novice Lord test endangers your life, and I can't help you, you can try to give up your status as a lord and see if you can escape." Linger immediately typed, "Spiritual Medicine Lord. Thank you, Big Brother. Don't worry, I'll definitely take good care of myself." "Spiritual Medicine Lord. Big Brother, you have to work hard too." "Spiritual Medicine Lord. Most lords now think that you're the #1 lord on the cerulean planet." "I think so too." "Spiritual Medicine Lord. Linger believes that Big Brother will definitely perform the best in the Novice Lord test and obtain the supreme reward of the Supreme Will. Lord of the Blazing Sun, God brother, the cerulean planet Lord is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Who can perform the best and obtain the favor of the Supreme Will? No one can say for sure until the last moment, but I will do my best. Spiritual Medicine Lord. Yes, yes." After that, she sent 1,000 sets of life potion medicinal herbs, 1,000 sets of energy potion medicinal herbs, 1,000 sets of golden corpse water medicinal herbs, 1,000 sets of blood eye medicinal herbs, 1,000 sets of antidotes medicinal herbs, and 1,000 sets of blood cleansing pill medicinal herbs to Zhou Zhou. Then she typed again. "Spiritual Medicine Lord. Big Brother, there are 2 types of medicinal herbs that are special and rare in the list of medicinal herbs you sent me last time. It will take 2 days to nurture them. I can only hand them to you tomorrow morning." When Zhou Zhou saw this sentence, he immediately knew that she was talking about the medicinal herbs needed to make the potential advancement potion. It will take even Linger's divine herb garden 2 days to nurture. The potential advancement potion is indeed extraordinary. Zhou Zhou sighed. This was the first time he had seen medicinal herbs that took 2 days to nurture in the divine herb garden. He typed that it was fine. It would be the same if she gave it to him tomorrow. Then, the 2 of them chatted for a while longer. After that, Zhou Zhou walked out of the Lord's courtyard and asked Bai Yi to get all the soldiers ready to go to Fish Spring Town to destroy the 3 Scarlet Lords there. Today is the last day. I have to hurry up and continue to strengthen myself before the Novice Lord test. I wonder how many Lord Talent Crystal fragments the 3 Scarlet Lords of Fish Spring Town can drop for me. Perhaps it could even become a complete Lord Talent. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou was suddenly filled with anticipation for today's battle. 2 hours later, in the area of Fish Spring Town and in the territory of the Wild Sand Boss, Windhowler, Zhou Zhou and Bai Yi looked at the Scarlet Territory not far away. Humanoid monsters wearing military armor and holding Putos One were patrolling their territory. Zhou Zhou looked at one of the humanoid monsters. A monster notification appeared. Monster name, Fogman, Wild Sand Believer. Strength level, Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Monster description, a monster subject under the leader of the Wild Sand Sect. Born in the Scarlet Fog, it was once a general believer of the Wild Sand Sect. Later, after following the boss of the Wild Sand Sect into rebelling, it was wiped out by the Wild Sand Army of the sect. It was transformed into a fog monster by the Scarlet Fog after death. Loots: 2 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores. Drop rate: 100%. 1 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book. Summoning Wild Sand. Drop rate: 5%. 1 Gradeless Puteo Soldier Class Change Certificate. Drop rate: 0.1%. Puteo Soldier? I remember that this seems to be a basic soldier type, Zhou Zhou thought. He had heard other lords mention this type of soldier when he was diving in the World Channel. This was an offensive basic soldier type. It was different from sword-shield soldiers who could both attack and defend. The Puteo soldier used a weapon called Puteo. It was a very heavy saber that needed to be held with both hands to unleash its greatest power. This allowed them to have higher lethality than sword-shield soldiers among the basic soldiers. However, their defense was weaker in contrast. Among the various human soldiers, the main representatives of the basic soldiers were spearmen, Puteo soldiers, sword-shield soldiers, crossbowmen, and bowmen. The 5 basic soldiers each had their advantages and disadvantages. Among the 5 basic soldiers, the Puteo soldiers and spearmen are the main melee offensive soldiers of the human race. It's necessary to protect this Wild Sand Believer with the Monster Ranch. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. He did not expect this. The first Scarlet Lord he found gave him such a huge surprise. In the future, he could add another basic type of soldier to the soldiers in his territory. Then, he looked at the loot drop rates of the other Wild Sand Believers. In the end, he realized that they had the same loot drop rate as the Desert Fog Lizard and the Black-tailed Fog Scorpion. The number of Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Puteo Soldier recruitment books that could be dropped began to increase starting from the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade Wild Sand Believers. At the Green Bronze Tier, the elite Wild Sand Believers would drop more Puteo Soldier Class Change Certificates, Puteo Soldier recruitment books, and higher-level Wild Sand Summoning skill books. As for the Wild Sand Boss, Windhowler, it had yet to appear. Therefore, Zhou Zhou did not know what it would drop. He looked at the center of the territory. There was a lord's courtyard with strong wind mixed with yellow sand whistling around it. Everything was normal after exceeding a certain range of the lord's courtyard. It was as if the inside and outside of the sandstorm were 2 completely different worlds. The Scarlet Lord should be inside, Zhou Zhou thought. Fish Spring Town had 3 Scarlet Lord territories. The reason why he led his troops to the territory of the Scarlet Lord of the Wild Sands, Windhowl first, was because this was the only Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade Scarlet Lord territory among the 3. He chose the easiest one to deal with first. Zhou Zhou could save the remaining 2 Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Scarlet Lord territories for later. This is the first time I've seen a Scarlet Lord's faction in human form. According to the map information drawn by Wu Tu, this Wild Sand Boss, Windhowler, has more than 1,200 followers. He's also a white-silver tier elementary grade fog monster. It's similar to the territory of a Sandman Lord. But I'm not the person I was yesterday. When I attacked the Sandman Lord yesterday, I had only a little more than 3,800 people. Today, I can completely destroy these monsters with more ease. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou looked behind him. A total of 6,415 soldiers were waiting behind him. Almost all of them were soldiers at a glance. Among them, there were 1,770 poison crossbowmen, 3,045 sword shield soldiers, 1,546 elemental archers, and 52 elven elemental archers. There was also a spearman and a cavalry. Their eyes were filled with ferocity, and they were prepared to rush down and kill at any time. Other than them, there was also a green bronze tier elementary grade Sandman leader and a green bronze tier intermediate grade Sandman leader. They had come to him by themselves. Zhou Zhou also brought them along on this expedition. He directly ordered everyone to attack and stop thinking about it. All the soldiers rushed down accompanied by the first kill sound. Among them, many sword-shield soldiers formed a thick iron wall and charged towards the wild sand believers unstoppably. The poison crossbowmen and elemental archers followed closely behind. They aimed at these enemies and drew their bows. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Poisonous arrows, woodvine strangulation arrows, and fire arrows formed a rain of arrows of 3 colors that filled the sky and shot towards the believers, accompanied by the continuous sound of the string being released. In an instant, a third of the humanoid monsters died under this rain of arrows. Under the cover of the arrows, the sword-shield soldiers charging at the front looked even more unstoppable. The wild sand believers fell one after another wherever they went. Their eyes were cold, not showing any mercy just because the monster in front of them looked like a human. They were just monsters condensed from a ball of scarlet fog. They would be crazy to treat them as their own kind. Moreover, as long as it was the Lord's enemy, they would kill people of the same race without hesitation. Pity for the enemy on the battlefield was the greatest cruelty to oneself. They would not make such a low-level mistake. Behind the battlefield, Zhou Zhou and the doctors looked at the situation in front of them. There was a smile on their faces. Crushing! They were completely crushing them. These wild sand believers could not resist at all, facing the huge difference in military strength. At this moment, a huge and gentle energy suddenly appeared in his heart. Then, it instantly surged into his limbs, bones, and soul to strengthen his body, soul, and mental strength. Zhou Zhou was taken aback momentarily before he opened his lord's personal information. In the strength class column, his strength had shockingly increased from green bronze tier elementary grade to green bronze tier intermediate grade. I've finally broken through. The promotion of a lord is really difficult. Zhou Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. A moment later, almost all the wild sand believers were killed by the soldiers without Nazario's help. Only 3 black iron tier elementary grade believers were knocked out and tied up, preparing to be brought back to be protected. At this moment, more than 6,400 soldiers surrounded the Lord's courtyard from 50 to 60 meters away, staring covetously at the building. The door to the Lord's courtyard was opened. An old man in a long robe with yellow sand patterns, holding a staff and with bloodshot eyes walked out of the Lord's courtyard. It was the wild sand boss, Windhowler. Zhou Zhou was about to check his monster information and drop rate information after seeing it. At this moment, magma dragon breath descended from the sky and spat on the Scarlet Lord. 2 seconds later, a kill notification appeared. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed the wild sand boss, Scarlet Lord, Windhowler. Promotion energy plus 200. Loots condensed. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. Zhou Zhou. Little Nez, couldn't you have given this Scarlet Lord some face? Nazario sneezed disdainfully in the sky. A mere white silver tier elementary grade Scarlet Lord had made it wait so long. If not for the fact that this Lord's courtyard was created by the Scarlet Lord, which something not even its dragon breath could destroy, it would have already destroyed the other party the moment it arrived. The corpse of the wild sand boss, which experienced incomplete burning, was carried over by the soldiers after cooling down with cold water in no time. Zhou Zhou looked at it. An item information notification appeared. Item name: Wild Sand Boss, Wind Howler, Scarlet Lord, Corpse. Item level: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Item effect: Contains unextracted loots. Item description: Scarlet Lord killed by the pet of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Prompt: in 2 hours, this corpse will turn into fog and be reborn at a certain time in the future. Loots: 5 white silver tier mist cores, drop rate 100%, 2 origin crystals, drop rate 100%, 1 white silver tier elementary grade equipment, the wild sand staff, drop rate 20%, 1 white silver tier elementary grade skill book, summoning wild sand, drop rate 5%, 20 gradeless Pudeo soldier class change certificates, drop rate 0.1%, 10 white silver tier elementary grade Pudeo soldier recruitment book, drop rate 0.1%, 5 black iron tier Lord talent crystal fragments, drop rate 0%. Unfortunately, there isn't any Scarlet Lord talent sphere. But the Lord's talent crystal fragment is not bad either. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly when he saw the loot. He now had 9 black iron tier Lord talent crystal fragments. He could already fuse another black iron tier Lord talent origin divine crystal in addition to these 5. However, he did not plan to open another black iron tier Lord talent this time. He planned to save it first and upgrade the incite defection talent in the future. Then, he placed his hand on the other party's corpse. A golden notification appeared. Do you want to retrieve the loot? Yes! The next second, a text notification appeared. Lord Talent hint: you have obtained loots, 5 mist cores, white silver tier, 2 origin crystals, 1 wild sand staff, white silver tier elementary grade, 1 summoning wild sand, white silver tier elementary grade, skill book, 20 Pudeo soldier class change certificates, gradeless, 10 Pudeo soldier recruitment books, white silver tier elementary grade, 5 Lord talent crystal fragments, black iron tier elementary grade. Whoosh! The loots were all dropped. Zhou Zhou put the mist cores, origin crystals, and the fragments of the Lord talent crystal into his spatial ring. Then, he checked the remaining loot. The first was the wild sand staff. It was a yellow staff nearly 2 meters long with a yellow crystal embedded at the top of the staff. The surface of the staff was carved with strange patterns, which looked like the beauty of a foreign race's culture. The equipment notification appeared. Equipment name: Wild Sand Staff. Equipment grade: White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Equipment effect 1: Wild Sand Territory. Continue to inject energy into the staff, and you can cast the Wild Sand Territory at a specific location. Enemies in the Wild Sand Territory will continue to suffer damage from the attack of Wild Sand of White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Note: the location, range, strength, and duration of the Wild Sand Territory depends on the strength of the energy in the user's body and the amount of energy output. Equipment effect 2: Wild Sand Blessing. Using it on the Wild Sand Territory repeatedly can increase the strength and purity of the energy in the user's body. This blessing is only effective on professionals below the yellow gold tier. When Zhou Zhou saw the continuous effect of the staff, he immediately thought of the scene in the Lord's courtyard. That should be the Wild Sand Territory, right? So it was caused by the staff. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. It turned out that the other party was receiving the Wild Wind blessing in the Lord's courtyard. Unfortunately, it's a white silver tier elementary grade staff. Otherwise, I will be able to use it now. Zhou Zhou looked at the staff. He was quite envious of the effect of this staff, therefore, he could not help but try to inject the energy from his body. However, the staff did not react. Zhou Zhou felt a little helpless. His body had just entered the green bronze tier intermediate grade. It could not even reach the threshold of activating the wild sand territory of this wild sand staff. He could only use it when he advanced to the white-silver tier elementary grade in the future. Then, Zhou Zhou put it away and checked the white-silver tier elementary grade skill book, Summoning Wild Sand. Skill name: Summoning Wild Sand. Skill quality: white-silver tier elementary grade. Skill description: summon a wave of sand at a designated location, causing area of effect sand attack damage to the enemy. The range of the sand depends on the amount of energy the summoner outputs. Isn't this a weakened version of the gust territory? Zhou Zhou was stunned. He could not learn this either, so he put it away. Finally, Zhou Zhou looked at the Puteo Soldier Class Change Certificate and the Puteo Soldier Recruitment Book. Item name: Puteo Soldier Class Change Certificate. Item level: Gradeless. Item effect: Basic Soldier Class Change Tool. After using it, you can become a basic soldier class, the Puteo Soldier. You will also have a set of Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Standard Equipment, a year of Puteo Soldier Combat Experience, and Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Initial Strength. Item description: Basic Military Profession Change Certificate. One is enough to allow ordinary people without any strength to step onto the path of extraordinary professions. Item name: Puteo Soldier Recruitment Book. Item level: white-silver tier elementary grade. Item effect: Basic Soldier Recruitment Book. Throw it into the Gate of Summoning and you can summon a Black Iron tier elementary grade potential to become your subject. Item description: one of the sources of the Myriad Realm Lord's forces. Only the lucky among the lords can obtain it. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. It was almost no different from a sword shield soldier's. He walked into the Lord's courtyard and took away a green bronze tier elementary grade territory token after asking Bai Yi to break the territory tablet. My territory can be upgraded again as long as I obtain 2 more green bronze tier territory tokens, Zhou Zhou thought. He planned to conquer all 3 Scarlet Lord territories in Fish Spring Town in one go today. If nothing went wrong, he should be able to upgrade his territory before the end of the day. He took out 2 Conqueror's blast furnaces and began to retrieve the loot of the more than 1,200 believers while he let the soldiers take turns resting and guarding the surroundings. Half an hour later, all the loot had been extracted. They obtained a total of 4,154 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores, 318 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores, 1,990 Puteo Soldier Class Change Certificates, 752 Puteo Soldier Recruitment Books, 1,260 Summoning Wild Sand Books, Black Iron Tier and Green Bronze Tier. Zhou Zhou took out a Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Summoning Sand from the 1,000-odd skill books and chose to learn it. He had mastered this skill. Other than these gains, when Bai Yi and the others were cleaning up the battlefield, they also discovered 15,000 units of wood, 10,000 units of stone, 8,000 units of fine sand, and 10,000 units of metal in the warehouse of the Scarlet Territory. There were also 1,084 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores and 88 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores. After confirming that there were no other loots to take away from this Scarlet Territory, Zhou Zhou led the soldiers who had ample rest and rushed towards the territory of Zipao, the Purple Scale Murderfish Scarlet Lord. Half an hour later, Zhou Zhou stood on a stone cliff and looked at the Purple Scale Lake, the territory of the Purple Scale Murderfish leader not far away while he recalled its origin. The Purple Scale Lake was not a natural lake in Fish Spring Town. It was an artificial lake. It was said that back then, after Zhang Bern used his Black Iron Tier Lord talent, Fishwater Lake, to make Fish Spring Town rich, some subjects felt that the reason why the fish produced in Fishwater Lake were fat and huge was because the water from the lake was special. Therefore, some people had thoughts of buying lake water from Zhang Bern to build an artificial lake and develop a fish farm. At that time, Zhang Ben was in high spirits because of the Fishwater Lake. When he heard this request, he knew that his subjects wanted to get rich and agreed without much hesitation. He even took the initiative to help the other party build an artificial lake. Therefore, 2 artificial lakes were built in less than a month. Just as people were looking forward to the benefits these 2 artificial lakes could bring to Fish Spring Town, they were modified by the Scarlet Fog and became the territory of the Scarlet Lord overnight. One of them became the Scarlet Territory of the Purple Scale Murderfish leader in front of him. The other was the territory of the only Lord-tier Scarlet Lord in Fish Spring Town, the Water Demon Scarlet Lord. At the beginning, these 2 Scarlet Lords' territories were still relatively weak. However, they could only watch as they became stronger because it was very difficult for Zhang Ben and the others to hurt them when they were under the lake. Then, it became something that could not be dealt with now. From then on, there were no more subjects in Fish Spring Town who dared to say that they could make a fortune by building an artificial lake. The monsters under the lake are indeed difficult to deal with. Even my soldiers will find it difficult to completely eliminate the purple scale murderfish under the lake without underwater combat methods. Still, I have Nazario. Zhou Zhou looked at Nazario in the sky and conveyed his orders to it. Nazario roared and rushed towards the extremely calm purple scale lake. Nazario suddenly stopped when it was about 50 to 60 meters away from the purple scale lake. It looked coldly at the purple scale lake and flapped its dragon wings, flying above the lake. The wind formed by the flapping of the dragon wings blew on the surface of the lake, causing a large number of ripples. Purple scale murderfish with scarlet fish eyes emerged from the bottom of the lake one after another, trembling as they looked at Nazario. At this moment, Nazario had yet to release its dragon might. However, its size and the bloodline aura it naturally emitted alone were enough to make these purple scale murderfish extremely afraid. Zhou Zhou took advantage of this moment. He chose the weakest-looking purple scale murderfish and checked its monster information. Monster name: Purple Scale Murderfish. Strength level: Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Monster description: the monster of the Purple Scale Lake was born in the Scarlet Fog. It was originally an ordinary purple scale lake, but under the modification of the Scarlet Fog, it became a ferocious underwater monster that devoured people. Loots: 2 units of Black Iron Tier Mist Cores. Drop rate: 100%. 1 unit to 20 units of delicious meat from Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Purple Scale Murderfish. Drop rate: 20% to 1%. 1 gradeless skill book, Swimming Mastery. 1 Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book, Water Spear Technique. Drop rate: 1%. After seeing its loot drop, Zhou Zhou looked at the drop rates of the other levels of the Purple Scale Murderfish. He realized that the loots of the other higher-level Purple Scale Murderfish had not changed much. However, the drops of delicious fish meat and the skill level of the Water Spear Technique had also increased. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he no longer had the thought of protecting it. This was the first time he had seen the flesh of a monster with the prefix delicious, which meant that even the Supreme will approved of the deliciousness of this fish. However, he could only build one other monster ranch now. This monster ranch definitely had to place a very valuable monster in it. In addition, the Fish Spring Town also sold fish similar to it. The taste should not be inferior to it. Therefore, Zhou Zhou was no longer interested in it. On the other side, Nazario looked at the purple scale murderfish below. It suddenly opened its mouth. A red light brewed in its throat. The next second, the hot and scarlet magma dragon breath spewed out of its mouth and shot into the purple scale lake. Hiss, 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 hiss. A large amount of steam instantly evaporated from the originally dead lake's surface by the hot magma dragon breath. At the same time, kill notifications quickly appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed a Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade Purple Scale Murderfish. Promotion energy +2. Loots condensed. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed a Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade Elite Purple Scale Murderfish. Promotion energy +8. Loots condensed. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed the Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade Purple Scale Murderfish Leader. Promotion energy +20. Loots condensed. In the blink of an eye, the information of dozens of purple scale murderfishes being killed appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Nazario's magma dragon breath had yet to stop. It seemed to have endless magma dragon breath and had no intention of stopping at all. It continuously burned the purple scale lake that the residents of Fish Spring Town regarded as a taboo. As time passed, the number of purple scale murder fishes in the lake began to decrease at an astonishing speed. Moreover, even the depth of the lake began to decrease at a speed visible to the naked eye. Bubbles were even popping up on the surface of the purple scale lake. It was obvious how hot the lake water was. The purple scale murder fishes were steamed to death by the scorching lake water before they were even injured by the magma dragon breath. A delicious fish fragrance came from the purple scale lake and quickly reached Zhou Zhou and the others. It smells so good. I'm craving it. How's this killing fog monsters? This is clearly cooking fish in a big pot. His lordship's pet is too powerful. The soldiers could not help but whisper. This was the first time they had seen such a spectacular and unbelievable scene. They had long known that their lord's pet was very strong, but at this moment, they were also shocked by the destructive power of the lava dragon. Zhou Zhou also felt a little emotional. Pure-blooded dragons were indeed unbelievably strong. If Nazario could do this now, it might not be impossible to burn mountains and boil seas in the future when it reaches maturity. This is only a young pure-blooded dragon. There might be dragon lords in the high continent. If it can also summon pure-blooded dragons as its subjects through the gate of summoning like us. Zhou Zhou thought about it. He immediately felt a chill run down his spine. A life form that was born to stand at the peak of all races was indeed ridiculously strong. Zhou Zhou became even more cautious at the thought that such a terrifying life form might be his opponent in the future. I might be doing well among the Cerulean planet lords. There are even some lords who say that I'm the top lord of the Cerulean planet's human race. But I'm afraid I'm still very weak in front of the lord of a truly powerful race. I still need to become stronger. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. Zhou Zhou looked silently at the scene of Nazario wreaking havoc in the purple scale lake in the distance. Originally, he was still a little worried about the novice lord test after 7 days of development. He still felt a little proud when he compared himself to the development progress of the other Cerulean planet lords. But at this moment, the arrogance in his heart disappeared. He did not have the right to be arrogant in front of the truly powerful lords of all races. At least not yet. If a dragon lord appeared in front of him now, it probably only needed to send 4 to 5 pure-blooded dragons, and it could crush all the development results he had been proud of for the past 7 days. Half a minute later, just as Nazario had burned 400 to 500 purple scale murderfishes to death, the purple scale murderfish lord, which had been hiding under the lake and unwilling to come out to face Nazario, finally could not take it anymore. If it continued to hide, its freshwater lake was probably going to become a magma lake. Boom! A purple scale murderfish that was more than 10 meters long suddenly emerged from the water. It was the purple scale murderfish lord, Zhou. It suddenly opened its mouth the moment it flew out of the lake. Then, a water gun as thick as a water tank shot out from its mouth, attacking Nazario. Nazario only glanced at the water spear indifferently after noticing its movements. Elementary fire, elemental control. Whoosh! A blazing flame barrier appeared out of thin air. After the water spear hit the flame barrier, it only caused a ripple on the barrier before silently evaporating into water vapor and dissipating into the air. Then, its dragon head turned slightly, and the magma dragon breath it spat out immediately went straight for the Scarlet Lord. When the purple scale murderfish lord saw the scene, it was so frightened that it wanted to escape. It suddenly dived into the water and swam as deep into the lake as possible. Soon, it reached the bottom of the lake. It plunged deep into the soil at the bottom of the lake, wanting to burrow under the soil. The next second, the scorching magma dragon breath directly burned an underwater passageway of 40 to 50 meters in the lake and enveloped it. The purple scale murderfish lord, Zhou, died on the spot enveloped by the scorching magma dragon breath. An even more alluring fish fragrance came from its body, making everyone on the shore gulp. At the same time, A kill notification also appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Your pet lava dragon, Nazario, has killed the white silver tier intermediate grade purple scale murderfish lord, Zi Pao, Scarlet Lord. Promotion energy plus 400. Loots condensed. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. After a while, Nazario stopped spitting out magma dragon breath in satisfaction after confirming that all the purple scale murderfishes had been destroyed. There was no longer any drop of lake water. They were all evaporated into water vapor by the magma dragon breath. There were only 1,900 charred purple scale murderfish corpses left. They lay at the bottom of the lake while emitting the fragrance of roasted fish. Nazario used elementary fire elemental control again, drawing away all the heat where it spat out magma dragon breath to make it easier for the soldiers to take the corpses of the purple scale murderfish. After that, the soldiers jumped into the bottom of the lake one after another and transported the corpses of the purple scale murderfishes up. Then, they retrieved the loot from the 3 conquerors' blast furnace. Half an hour later, all 1,900 purple scale murderfishes had been extracted. This included 1,287 black iron tier purple scale murderfishes and elite purple scale murderfishes. 612 green bronze tier purple scale murderfish leaders. 1 white silver tier elementary grade purple scale murderfish leader, not the Scarlet Lord. In total, 4,690 black iron tier mist cores. 1,924 green bronze tier mist cores. 2 white silver tier mist cores. 51,140 units of black iron tier delicious fish meat. 20,740 units of green bronze tier delicious fish meat. 2,000 units of white silver tier delicious fish meat. 1,900 gradeless skill books, swimming mastery. 1,900 skill books, water spear technique. Black iron tier, green bronze tier, and 1 white silver tier elementary grade. Zhou Zhou took out one of the gradeless swimming mastery and the green bronze tier intermediate grade water spear technique. Skill name, swimming mastery. Skill quality, gradeless. Skill description, after learning it, you can swim freely in the water like a fish. At the same time, your lung capacity will increase greatly. You can dive to a depth of 300 meters and can hold your breath underwater for a minimum of 1 hour. Skill name, water spear technique. Skill quality, green bronze tier intermediate grade. Skill description, concentrate and guide the condensation of water elemental energy in your mouth to form a water spear with green bronze tier intermediate grade destructive power and penetrative power to attack the enemy. After Zhou Zhou read the skill description, he learned it without hesitation. When he was on the Cerulean planet, he was a landlubber. After learning swimming mastery, he would not be afraid of falling into the water in the future. He could also master the basic skill of swimming. As for his ability to dive deep and hold his breath, he could easily break the world record if he brought it to the Cerulean planet. The water spear technique was a very simple and pure offensive skill. There was nothing to say. While he did not need to fight personally as a lord, there was no harm in learning it as a backup. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the corpse of the purple scale murderfish lord, Zi Pao. Information about the corpse appeared. Item name, corpse of the purple scale murderfish lord, Zi Pao, Scarlet Lord. Item level, white silver tier intermediate grade. Item effect, contains unextracted loots. Item description, Scarlet Lord killed by the pet of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Prompt, in 2 hours, this corpse will turn into fog and be reborn at a certain time in the future. Loots, 10 units of white silver tier mist cores, drop rate, 100%. 200 units to 2,000 units of white silver tier intermediate grade purple scale murderfish lord's delicious flesh, drop rate, 20% to 0.5%. 1 white silver tier intermediate grade skill book, water spear book, drop rate, 5%. 1 yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord talent sphere, drop rate, 0%. 3 yellow gold tier Lord talent crystal fragments, Drop rate, 0%. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. He was immediately a little excited. Yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord talent sphere. This guy actually had a yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord talent. Moreover, there were 3 yellow gold tier Lord talent crystal fragments. He had always thought that it was only going to be a black iron tier Lord talent crystal fragment. It actually turned out that the Scarlet Lord talent sphere and the Lord talent crystal fragment could exist at the same time. He immediately placed his hand on the other party's corpse and extracted the other party's loot. Soon, a large number of loots dropped, but Zhou Zhou's eyes were only fixated at the ball of light that emitted a golden halo with a wisp of blood inside. Treasure name: Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, unknown. Treasure grade: yellow gold tier. Treasure effect: the Lord can absorb it and obtain an unknown yellow gold tier Lord talent after being purified by the Supreme Will. Treasure description: a loot that could not be dropped. It was forced to drop under the drive of some mysterious power. Do you want to purify it? Zhou Zhou naturally chose not to purify it on the spot. They were outside after all. It might not be safe. It would not be too late to purify it when he returned to the territory. He resisted the urge to immediately purify it and put it into his spatial ring. Then, he looked at the yellow gold tier Lord Talent crystal fragments that he was seeing for the first time. Treasure name: Lord Talent Crystal Fragment. Grade: yellow gold tier. Treasure ability 1. Gather 10 gold tier Lord Talent crystal fragments and fuse them into a complete gold tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. It can awaken an unknown gold tier Lord Talent. Treasure ability 2. Gather 10 yellow gold tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals and fuse them into a complete white platinum tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. It can allow a lord with a yellow gold tier Lord Talent to upgrade his Lord Talent to a white platinum tier Lord Talent. The subsequent fusion effects and so on. Introduction: a treasure that lords can only dream of. Zhou Zhou was extremely excited. It's not a loss. It doesn't matter even if the invasion of the last Scarlet Lord fails in the end. With this yellow gold tier Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere and these 3 yellow gold tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, I didn't come for nothing today. He thought excitedly. My lord, we just found the Territory Stone Tablet here. We also found their storage resources here. There are a total of 20,000 units of stone, 10,000 units of wood, and 10,000 units of metal. Other than that, we found 30,000 units of fine sand not far from the shore of the Purple Scale Lake. In addition, 584 black iron tier mist cores, 56 green bronze tier mist cores, and 2 white silver tier mist cores were discovered. At this moment, Bai Yi quickly walked over and said respectfully, "Bring me to the territory tablet." Zhou Zhou nodded. "Yes, my lord." Then, Bai Yi jumped down from the Purple Scale Lake with Zhou Zhou and arrived at the bottom of the lake. After walking 100 to 200 meters at the bottom of the lake, Zhou Zhou saw a lord's courtyard buried in sand. He walked into the lord's courtyard. A territory stone tablet wrapped in water plants stood here. "Break it," Zhou Zhou ordered. "Yes," Bai Yi nodded. Then, she drew her bow and fired 10 fire vine arrows at the territory tablet, shattering it to reveal a green bronze tier intermediate grade territory token. Zhou Zhou went forward and obtained the territory token. "I can upgrade my territory when I return home later." A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. Then, he prepared to rest for half an hour before setting off. At this moment, he realized that the soldiers were discussing the fragrance of the purple scale murderfish that they had just smelled. They were almost salivating. Zhou Zhou's heart skipped a beat. They had to rest anyway. Moreover, they had to face the most difficult water demon Scarlet Lord and see next. Since that was the case, it would not be too late to fight after the soldiers were full and energetic. Thinking of this, he immediately took out 10,000 units of black iron tier delicious fish and 5,000 units of green bronze tier delicious fish. Then, he called Zhang Tseng over and asked him to bring a group of soldiers to distribute the fish meat to the soldiers. Let the soldiers eat and drink. They would fight after eating and resting. As for the kitchenware, there was no need to worry. He brought more than 6,400 soldiers out to fight. No matter how sloppy Zhou Zhou was, he would not forget the importance of these supplies. Therefore, he asked the soldiers to bring the kitchen utensils and the like. He even brought Qin Guang and his wife, the first pair of chefs in the territory, along. Zhang Trang and the others' eyes immediately lit up. They were already deeply attracted by the fragrance of the fish meat when they saw Nazario destroy the purple scale murderfish. They had thought that they would only be able to eat this delicious fish after the battles. They did not expect their lord to be so understanding to allow them to satisfy their cravings immediately. "Thank you, my lord," Zhang Tsang said excitedly. "Take these fish and distribute them quickly. Don't forget to guard the surroundings while you eat. This is not our territory now." Zhou Zhou smiled. "Yes, my lord," Zhang Tsang said respectfully. Then, he went to get someone to move the fish. A moment later, "The fish soup is here." Qin Guang, who was already a Black Iron Tier advanced grade chef, excitedly carried a large pot of purple scale fish soup to Zhou Zhou excitedly. "It smells so good." Zhou Zhou only smelled it and his eyes lit up. This large pot of fish soup was made from the white silver tier intermediate grade delicious fish meat of the purple scale murderfish leader. It had to be said. Zhou Zhou had yet to taste it, but he was already tempted just by the smell. Even the energy in his body was stirring. He was about to scoop a bowl of fish soup and taste it when he saw Bai Yi standing respectfully at the side. "Bai Yi, why are you still standing there? Sit down and eat with us." He quickly called out to the other party. "My lord, this isn't good. I'll just eat with the soldiers later." Bai Yi hesitated. "Why are you being so polite?" Zhou Zhou pulled her down and drank fish soup and ate fish meat together. Then, their eyes lit up at the same time. Not only was this white silver tier intermediate grade leader tier fish delicious and melted in their mouths, the energy contained in the fish meat that belonged to the white silver tier intermediate grade also benefited the two of them. At this moment, both of them were at green bronze tier intermediate grade. After eating the fish soup and fish meat, they felt that the advancement energy in their bodies had clearly increased. Bai Yi barely maintained her reservedness, even though the speed at which she ate was clearly faster. Zhou Zhou could no longer care about his image as a lord. He wolfed down the soup and ate the meat. He was a complete example of what it meant to wolf down one's food. Soon, the fish soup and meat in the large pot decreased at a visible speed. Qin Guang chuckled as he watched the scene. Then, he turned around and went back to work. After a while, he brought over 2 pots of fish soup and 50 skewers of roasted fish. They were all made from the delicious meat of the white silver tier intermediate grade purple scale murderfish leader. The two of them ate with joy. Half an hour later, after eating the 5th pot of fish soup, Zhou Zhou touched his swollen stomach and smiled. He looked around. At this moment, the soldiers were eating the flesh of the purple scale murderfish in full swing. Everyone's faces were filled with satisfaction. Not far away was the place where the purple scale murderfish was destroyed. Zhou Zhou suddenly thought of a poem. It was very similar to the scene in front of him. Hungry for hulu meat, laughing and drinking Xiongnu blood. This might be the pride and romance of the battlefield. Zhou Zhou smiled. He turned to look at Bai Yi. He was stunned. Bai Yi's eyes were closed and her face was ruddy. The flame mark on her face emitted a faint blood light and her body emitted unstable energy fluctuations. What happened? Zhou Zhou immediately grabbed her hand, only to realize that her hand was extremely hot. The next second, "My lord, it's coming," Bai Yi whispered. "Zhou Zhou?" The next second, Bai Yi's body suddenly tensed up. A few seconds later, she suddenly relaxed and a comfortable expression appeared on her face. Zhou Zhou admitted that he very nearly could not hold it in anymore looking at the scene, coupled with her elven bloodline face and figure. "My lord, I've broken through to the green bronze tier advanced grade," Bai Yi said happily after opening her eyes. Zhou Zhou coughed twice and was so embarrassed that he did not dare to look into her eyes. Bai Yi blinked. What is wrong with my lord? My lord, X2. At this moment, the Catgirl sisters from before quickly ran over wearing the standard sword shield soldier equipment. When they saw Zhou Zhou and Bai Yi leaning against each other intimately, they were stunned and immediately became flustered. Zhou Zhou and Bai Yi immediately separated. What happened? Zhou Zhou's expression returned to normal. My lord. Just now, when we were patrolling the vicinity with 5 elven elemental archer sisters, we discovered 2 sneaky human vampires. After the 2 of them saw us, they turned into a group of bats and wanted to escape, but we shot them all down. The younger cat girl said excitedly, My lord, don't listen to my sister's nonsense. Actually, it's mainly because of the 5 elven elemental archer sisters. We did want to stop them, but we couldn't do anything as soon as the 2 vampires turned into bats. The older cat girl knocked her younger sister's head and said in embarrassment, It's fine. What happened to the 2 vampires now? Zhou Zhou asked. These 2 vampires should be the subjects of the other 2 overlords in Fish Spring Town. He did not go and suppress them because they still had the novice lord's protection barrier. He did not expect the other party to come knocking on his door. But it made sense thinking about it. As the overlords of Fish Spring Town, if they had yet to react after he dealt with 2 Scarlet Lords' territories in a row, then they were really unqualified as lords. After they turned into bats and were shot down, they directly turned back to their original form and died. We've brought the corpses over, the older cat girl said respectfully. Then, the 2 of them turned around and left and each pulled a corpse to Zhou Zhou a short while later. Zhou Zhou looked over curiously. The corpses of these 2 vampire humans were not much different from ordinary humans. They were wearing medieval noble clothes and were handsome and pale. Their fingernails were slightly longer. Zhou Zhou could feel the coldness coming from their bodies even though there was a distance between them. Item name: Vampire Corpses, Low-Level Vampire. Item level: Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. Item effect: Contains unextracted loots. Item description: A subject of the Blood Sun Lord that was embraced by him, killed by the soldiers of Blazing Sun City. Prompt: In 2 hours, this corpse will turn into fog and be reborn at a certain time in the future. Loots: 8 Black Iron Tier Mist Cores. Drop rate: 100%. 1 Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. Low-Level Blood Clan Bloodline. Drop rate: 10%. 1 Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Racial Skill Book. Blood Bat Form. Drop rate: 0.01%. 1 Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Racial Talent Sphere. Drop rate: 0.001%.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.